JLR investigates. Breaking news, breaking news. Suspect arrested. Come on in, folks. We're going to talk about this terrible, terrible tragedy out of Oak Park, Illinois, west suburbs of Chicago. Oh, this guy is in some big, big trouble with the law. Jerrell Thomas is his name, and we're giving him public shaming today. This is horrible what happened Friday morning in Illinois, just west of Chicago, Oak Park. This dude was robbing a bank. He was robbing a bank with a gun, a Chase bank. And an officer, a detective with the Oak Park Police Department went and rushed to the scene. Detective Allan Reddins, a veteran with the Oak Park Police Department, and outside the bank, this guy right here killed an officer. He shot and killed Detective Reddins, a veteran with the police department. We are a pro law enforcement channel on JLR Investigates. It's sad. We're going to talk about it because the escalating violence in Chicago, because Oak Park is technically part of Chicago. It's a suburb of Chicago. But an officer Friday morning lost his life in the line of duty, folks. It's sad. It's sad. But we're going to go back to focus on this guy right here, because how in the world was this guy even out on the streets, considering he has an extensive criminal record, including 2 prior convictions for assaulting police? Oh, imagine that in Chicago, right? This guy's like a militant. This guy is a sovereign citizen. We got a sovereign citizen alert. Sovereign citizen suspect, folks. This guy right here is known as a black militant sovereign citizen who hates police. And he got a lot of workout videos. This happened Friday morning. They didn't identify this guy. This guy was taken into custody, by the way. He lived. So apparently there was some sort of shootout outside of the Chase Bank on Lake Street in Oak Park. Pretty sketchy neighborhood. I know a few people that live in Elmwood Park, a little bit to the north. It's a pretty sketchy, bad neighborhood. So this guy who has been in and out of prison for the last decade and a half decided, allegedly, to rob a bank. And the people in the bank pushed the alarm. Pushed the silent alarm. So while he's in the bank gathering money, it's unclear how much money he got from the bank. He walked out of the bank after robbing it, only to be confronted by Officer Reddins. Allan Reddins. By the way, the first officer to lose his life in the line of duty in Oak Park in 86 years. Saw this yesterday. We were going to go live last night on this, and I was just like, try to get more, because I saw this about the case and the suspect, but they didn't name the suspect to over 24 hours later. Then last night, for the first time, they put the suspect's name up there, and I'm like, oh, okay. So then I instantly start doing a deep dive on this guy, and I'm like, whoa, this guy's a militant. He was training to do an operation, for sure. He was training to do an operation. The guy has lots of videos out there of working out. That's him. That's the killer. Look at that. That is the killer right there. He was training to be a professional bank robber. Kind of like Point Break. Heat. Taking on police. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Look at that. They suspect that this guy here has robbed multiple banks in the Chicago area in the last year. Multiple banks. So this officer confronted and shot him. He got shot. He went to Loyola with a wound. He's the guy. Let's get some info right here.
We begin with a breaking news update this evening. Charges filed in the killing of an Oak Park police officer. Our Sarah Maki is in Oak Park at a growing memorial there.
37-year-old Jerrell Thomas is still being treated at the hospital, so no word yet on when he will make his first appearance in court. But out here right now, a growing memorial for the fallen officer at the site of the shooting. Announcing the charges, police say 37-year-old Jerrell Thomas comes with an extensive criminal background. Now also charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder of a police officer, possession of a stolen firearm, and unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. At Oak Park Police Station, purple and black draped across the front of the building. A memorial to the fallen officer installed the morning after his death. With the department since 2019, Oak Park detective Allan Reddins was responding to the call of a person with a gun leaving Chase Bank on Lake Street Saturday morning when he was shot. A bullet hitting the left side of his body.
And then I just hear shots ring out.
Video from the scene shows their suspect, Thomas, on the ground, taken away on a stretcher, shot in the leg. Bullet holes in the windows of the village's main library. Reddins, now remembered for the family he leaves behind, including a 19-year-old son, and his dedication to serving others. Police say that Thomas has been arrested for violence incidents in the past, including domestic battery, as well as situations involving police. They say he's been arrested for aggravated battery to a police officer and resisting a police officer. From Oak Park, Sarah Maki, CBS News, Chicago.
Sarah, thank you so much.
It appears this guy was on probation at the time of the shooting. How is it, of all these crimes that we've been covering in inner cities, dealing with suspects that do the most egregious things? For instance, we just were talking about the mass shooter, the African-American mass shooter down there in Birmingham, Alabama, who was out on parole at the time he committed 2 mass shootings. How is it these individuals are on probation and parole? While they're out on probation and parole for crimes, how is it that they're able to do crimes while out on probation and parole? It seems like a pattern here. And how are these violent criminals able to be out? It's shocking. And we're paying attention. We're paying attention to communities, seeing firsthand the mess with these policies in place, we'll say lawless policies in place that allow criminals to just run amok. Chicago's scary, folks. We were playing a couple days ago. Now, Oak Park is technically Chicago. It's Chicago. Oak Park is Chicago. And we were showing clips, literally. I got a map here to show you where this location is. But we were showing you clips, literally, over the weekend, last weekend, of shootings after shootings after shootings occurring in Chicago. All across Chicago. North side, south side, west side, all sides of Chicago. Shooting infants. People running around with guns, going into stores, robbing, shootings in neighborhoods. Shooting downtown at the Loop. But they want to say Chicago's safe. This is Oak Park. Oak Park. So, just to let you know, I won't be going to Chicago anytime soon. But it's a suburb. So, for people that are watching around the world, we're talking about Chicago. What is it? The 3rd biggest city in the United States behind New York and Los Angeles? Chicago, Chicago. For people watching around the globe, JLR investigates Oak Park, which is Chicago. It's Chicago, right? Bank robber robs the Chase Bank with a gun. Unclear how much money he actually got. Maybe he didn't even get any. But went outside, and then outside on Lake Street, officer, and this is a reminder to all the officers out there. They put their lives on the line to respond to these type of incidents. They don't get the recognition enough. They really don't. Have you seen some of these mass shooting body cams of law enforcement, literally that get the call on the radio that, hey, shooting in place, code red, whatever. And they literally, without any fear, determination, and drive, would rush to the scenes, and you could see the body cams, and literally get out of their vehicles and confront the danger. That's why we have respect for law enforcement on this channel, because, you know, they want to paint the picture of law enforcement's corrupt. Yeah, there's bad apples out there. There's bad apples in all careers. But the majority of the police out there are good police. And they're just trying to help the community and do their best. And all this guy was doing was responding to a bank robbery. And he just happened to get a guy, the wrong guy, because this guy here is wild, man. I would be absolutely terrified of this guy on the streets. Terrified. We'll share his record, but terrified. I mean, this guy is built.
Okay, I got
This is him. Full body workout. He's talking about doing full body workout. He got videos doing full body workout. Full body workout videos. That's him. That's the shooter. That's him. Look. That's the one that shot the officer. They trained for this. Literally. Now, I'm not going to bore you much longer with his workout videos, but I just wanted to show who this guy is. Now, it's the same guy. Same guy. Same guy all over the place. Same guy. All into workouts. All into... It's crazy. It's absolute crazy. And there he is. Absolute crazy. Chicago. Who is this guy? Who is he? Who is he?
Where a police officer was shot and killed while responding to a report of a man with a gun leaving a bank. That suspect was also shot during an exchange of gunfire and is in custody. We begin with SL Rezai. She's live for us at the Oak Park Police Department. SL? Yeah, Marie, we've learned the officer killed is Detective Allan Reddins, 40 years old, on the force since 2019. This is the first line of duty death for the Oak Park Police Department since 1938.
Oak Park Fire Unit. Looks like there's an officer down right in front of me, 55.
You can see the crime scene taking over a large portion of Lake Street near Oak Park Avenue. Police tape spilling into the park and surrounding the public library that's left with bullet holes in the windows. In this video, Chopper 2 captured clothes on the ground next to an Oak Park police patrol car. We've blurred the pools of blood there.
And then I just hear shots ring out.
Nicholas Gradishier tells us he was walking to a friend's house when he heard gunshots.
I get down after I hear the shots, and then I come to the library to see it littered with cops.
The Oak Park Fire Department responding to those gunshots Nicholas heard here just after 9:30 this morning. Police say Detective Allan Reddins was found shot in his left side. He was taken to Loyola University Medical Center where he died.
Yeah, give me a second ambulance to this location for the suspect who's also been shot.
Police say the suspect was shot in the leg, also taken to Loyola, where he's being treated and in custody. They say it's the same person that was seen leaving a bank with a gun on Lake Street earlier.
They were checking his pockets. They found a little handgun, but off to the side, there was a ARP. with a flashlight, so I don't know which one he used to shoot at the cops, but he had multiple guns on him.
Here's video Nicholas captured on his phone. You can see what appears to be the suspect on the ground with a gun nearby. Moments later, paramedics take him away on a stretcher.
Nothing happens up here. You may find a fight or so, but nothing like this will ever happen up here, so it's wild.
And Marie, many people we've talked to in this community in absolute shock that this happened here just a day after Thanksgiving. We know the Oak Park Police Department plans to have a news conference here within the hour. We'll bring you that live right here on the stream at 4:30. Live in Oak Park, I'm Asal Razai, CBS News Chicago.
Asal, thank you. Now to our Jermont Terry. He is at the Cook County Medical Examiner's office where law enforcement honored that officer during a procession today. Jermont.
Maria, solemn day not only for Oak Park PD, but for law enforcement agencies across Chicagoland. Once again, all available officers from various departments came here to the Cook County Medical Examiner's office. Now, the ambulance carrying Detective Allan Reddins' body took the slow drive from Loyola Hospital down the Eisenhower Expressway. Police shut down the inbound lanes as his fellow Oak Park officers escorted his body to the ME's office. Now, once again, Chicago Fire offered a full salute to Detective Reddins. We saw officers from State Police, Metro, and Chicago Police all standing at attention side by side. A scene CPD officers have seen far too often this year, and most recently earlier this month with the passing of their own fallen brother. So they know exactly how these men and women from Oak Park feel. In fact, one person walking by the procession said out loud, quote, "I'm tired of this. I'm tired of seeing this." A sentiment echoed by many people hearing of the passing of Detective Reddins. Yet these men and women all continue to serve and protect. We do know that Detective Reddins was 40 years old and was originally from the Chicago area. This afternoon, everyone is thinking of Oak Park and their fallen comrade as they deal with this unimaginable loss of this officer killed in the line of duty. For now, reporting live outside the Cook County Medical Examiner's office, I'm Jermont Terry, CBS News Chicago. Marie?
Jermont, thank you.
Killed in the line of duty. Detective Allan Reddins. So we are praying for his family and the law enforcement community in Oak Park. Let's talk about the suspect more, because how in the world was this guy able to even to be out on the streets? How was he even to be out on the streets? How? Explain to me. Because he has prior charges for aggravated assault of a police officer. He was out on parole at the time of this murder. Got a lot of charges: domestic battery, resisting police, criminal trespass, theft, property, assaults, domestic battery, 2009, 2015, another aggravated assault on a police officer. Tell me, how was he able to be out on the streets? If you want change out there and you want a peaceful country and a peaceful city, you got to start changing things up. You got to start bringing some tough DAs that go in there, and instead of giving people slap on the wrists and letting habitual criminals out and or not honoring ICE detainers, you need somebody in there to, send a message to these criminals. You commit crime, you go to prison for a long, long time. Violent crime. This channel here, we support, well, I do. I support the death penalty. This is a death penalty case. However, Illinois doesn't have the death penalty. Support the death penalty on violent crimes. The worst of the worst. Absolutely. Absolutely. If he was in Florida, he would have got the death penalty. If he was in Idaho, he'd get the firing squad. If he was in a lot of states, he would get it. But some of these states, no. Not only do they have bad policies and let the criminals come out, but they say, oh, abolish the death penalty. We want restorative justice. We want restorative justice. We want to give them an opportunity to prosper. Are you kidding me? Look, somebody in the chat said, free him, free him. No, he's not going to get free this time. Dude literally murdered an officer. So he has a crazy criminal record. But the crazy thing about it is this dude here says some wild stuff over the years. And I picked up some examples. One, he's a sovereign citizen. He's part of that sovereign citizen type movement. Remember the sovereign citizens? The ones that feel like they don't have to pay taxes and they feel like everything is capitalized. And it's kind of like the Moorish Science Temple sovereign citizens. He's making some rambling posts when he was out. Like, he has very sporadic Facebook posts because he spent years in prison. And then he gets out and starts posting again. Realize the fact of the question. It's time and place response. An individual who asked it while rationally understanding the historical matter that took place. When given the opportunity as a young adult to enwrite this nation's valor, I did. The troubling nature of these matters rests in the hands of the leader of the free world and the United States allies. The only option is for the benefit to take place for especially those who have been afflicted by the rash of the nay voters against the bill acts of legislation created. I, Jerrell Thomas, have the legislative act in honor, respect my integrity, valor, and commitment, and courage. WEBZ 1987 JCT Act was written and passed with remarkable support by Congress. Yeah, he's a sovereign citizen. However, those who are imposing the act have done above and beyond the call of duty to destroy the character, reputation, man inside of me. Yeah. People are saying, oh, brother, another sovereign citizen guy. Right? They're sovereign citizens. They feel like they can just go around and take money. You know, a lot of things with the sovereign citizens is a lot of their schemes and crimes are accepting value of loans, and they take out loans and financial credit and they never pay. They believe money in the bank is theirs. It's a whole philosophy. It's a wacky type thing. But that's what this guy is involved with. I see a little racial element to it too. I see a little racial element to the situation. Yeah, I'm reading a bunch. Look, he's talking about revolutionary moments. Revolutionary moments. Are you considered out of touch when your mission consists of more? Have society come to realize a need for revolutionary movements to sustain equality for all Americans? What stand have you taken? Yeah, he got a lot of posts. Jerrell Thomas. That's the guy's name. Now we're just putting the information out there. How's these people out there on the streets? Now, he has a Facebook page. You guys can go see for yourself if you want to get educated on who these criminals are, who these people are, the backstory, the history of these people. You want to know who these people are? You want to know who these people are? The backstory and history. Here's an old Facebook page. You can find him right here. His name is Jerrell Thomas. Jerrell Thomas. A.K.A. J to the Truth Thomas Zulu. Calls him J to the Truth Thomas Zulu. There he is. And he's a Bulls fan. And you could scour around his talks here. We'll just scroll down here. Scour around his rhetoric to understand the mindset of these animals. And he just talks about a lot of crazy stuff. And you guys can see for yourself. So, they did give a press conference about the officer who tragically lost his life. It's not long, but we always want to hear the story. hear what the law enforcement has to say about these terrible, terrible crimes out there dealing with these animals.
Good evening, Shatanya Johnson, Police Chief for the Village of Oak Park. Today, the Village of Oak Park, the Oak Park Police Department, and police officers from around the world are suffering. We're mourning the loss of our beloved Allan Reddins. He was killed in the line of duty today, serving and protecting the community that he so cherished. Allan was 40 years old and a devoted father. He leaves behind to mourn his loss his 19-year-old son, his mother and siblings, as well as a host of friends and officers. Allan started his career here with Oak Park Police Department on the 15th of May, 2019. Prior to being a police officer with the Village of Oak Park, he did a short stint with Metro Police Department. My heart goes out to those officers that he served with, but more importantly, the work that he did here was so impactful. I personally knew Allan because I did his background investigation, and I quickly identified that he had a talent that was needed here. Allan was a committed officer who became a detective a few years ago. He closed substantial cases and helped us to resolve countless incidents. He was a natural. Today at about 9 a.m., he responded to a call for service for a man with a gun leaving the Chase Bank on Lake Street. He, as well as several officers, encountered that offender on the 800 block of Lake Street. After trying to direct the offender to show them his hands, the offender banished a firearm and shot Officer Redding. At 10:10, Officer Reddings was pronounced deceased. The offender was injured during this incident, was treated on the scene before being transported to the hospital. I want to thank our fire department as well as all of the officers locally and a distance. Our police department, we're hurting right now. I'm hurting. His family is hurting. Please keep us in your prayers, and I thank you all. Any information regarding his homecoming will be posted on our website. The investigation is ongoing, so I won't take any questions regarding the investigation. I ask that you all respect his family privacy while they deal with this tragic incident. Thank you. This is true.
86 years. First officer to die in 86 years.
Right now we have peer support with our police department. We also have the officer wellness where officers are being treated there. We all have to go and do at least one visit a day. A year. My apologies. And they made themselves available. We also have a very supportive chaplaincy program. All whom are here at the police department that was at the hospital with us. I'm hurting. This is the worst day of any chief of police. Any other questions? I know I said I won't answer any questions. I won't answer any about the investigation.
Chief, there were responses from a lot of departments from around the western suburbs. Can you just talk a little bit about how suburbs tend to work together in a situation like this?
Sure, we wrap our arms around each other. Officers off-duty responded. Retired police officers responded to the hospital. Officers that left the police department to go to other police departments were there. Chiefs that retired from this department has already reached out. We have officers right now from other police department keeping our community served, keeping our community safe while our police department process this incident.
Chief, is the FBI involved at all because he was near a bank or in a bank?
The FBI would be involved if there was a bank robbery. Right now, the state police is involved. Natural-born leader, devoted father. He loves his mother. We had so many conversations about his mother. I can go on and on about him. I did his background investigation to get him here. His son, a bright young man with a bright future ahead of him. He had a whole community there at the hospital. A combination, yes.
The Chicago police officer was shot and killed recently as well. Trying to bring this up there. And he says increased danger for your officers.
Danger for the officers.
I won't answer any questions regarding the investigation. We want to preserve the integrity of the investigation. As it relates to officers, we all wake up every day understanding the commitment that we've chose to make with this profession. So we're prepared to do whatever we need to do to keep each other safe as well as the community safe. The offender was treated in a hospital, but I don't want to give him any other airtime other than that.
Oh.
Trust me, I'm compassionate about him. We did treat him on the scene. Officers rendered aid to him on the scene, but that's as much as I want to say about him. Any other questions?
You said you had a 19-year-old son. Can you tell us about, anything about him off duty, if he had any interests or commitments to the community, what you might just want to say about him as a person?
Sure. He was committed to his mother, his son. He's definitely a family man. His career before Metro Police, I'm not sure of. One of the cases that come to mind is he was responding to a call for service for something unrelated on the south end of town and discovered that a business needed to be looked into more closely. With that information, he shared it with other command staff members. We were able to close a business that was operating outside of the village values.
Chief, was the library open? It happened near the library.
The library was closed, sir.
It was closed?
Yes. Any other questions?
I know you mentioned peer support, Chief. Can you just speak to how close-knit this department is?
We have a very close-knit police department. Like I said, folks were at home celebrating the holiday and they came in. We have midnight officers here. Chicago peer support, they've been extremely supportive. We have one of our sergeants in particular, Sergeant Deichler. She's a Oak Park native. She actually went and picked up his mother. We are a family. If you ever come to any of our swearing-ins, that's the first thing you'll hear me say. We are a family. We support each other.
Have you heard from the police chiefs of any surrounding?
I have.
Superintendent Erickson?
He sent a representative.
How many officers do you have in this department?
How many officers do we have currently? 86.
Gives you guys perspective here.
Chief, you mentioned that this is a very tight-knit community. Do you know if Detective Reddins had any ties to Oak Park? Do you know if he grew up in Oak Park or went to any Oak Park schools? Do you know that?
He is a resident of Chicago, but he spends a lot of time here, just as most officers.
Yes.
Yes. Right now, they're supporting the officers. I'm sure they'll have a statement at a later time.
Chief, when did he make detective? You said he started in 2019, but he started patrol.
Yes, he started as a patrol officer in 2019. I appointed him to investigations. It might have been 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. 2 years ago, correct? 2022.
What about his service up to that point?
I thought he would make a phenomenal field training officer as well, and I was looking very much forward to him becoming a sergeant. He was just a natural leader. Anything that he would always take the extra step, go the extra step, and that's huge. To say what else can be done.
Responding to the call this morning, was that something that was within his purview of his job title, or was he filling in because of the holiday?
Right now, he was assigned to patrol because of our staffing concerns.
Staffing.
When I say concerns, that probably was not the right word. Yes. No, so with our staffing levels, we need to reassign officers back to patrol to make sure that we fill patrol. It was his regular work day.
And witnesses saw it, said they'd seen him there working in that area for many days. So that was typical of his patrol, is to stop by that busy part of the week.
Yeah, our officers, this is a community policing community. We do business checks. You'll see officers on foot patrol. And I'm sure he was assigned to that area days earlier.
Was he with a partner at the time?
We ride solo patrol.
You know if there's body camera video of the incident?
I want to answer any questions regarding the incident. Our police department would issue body-worn cameras approximately 2 years ago.
There is body cam footage.
Any other questions?
All right, so she talked about the detective. All right, that's the last question. So she talked about the detective. She honored the detective. He's been on the force, I think, since 2019. And we talked about this guy right here. So how in Chicago does these animals keep getting out on the streets and commit more and more violent acts? Who is this guy right here? Kind of give you a glimpse. Scary times, folks. We're praying for all the officers out there that are out there doing, trying to keep this, areas safe, the communities. These are heroes out there. And, this is an officer lost his life trying to stop crime. Scary times, folks. We'll follow this case. We'll see what happens out of this guy. And no death penalty in Illinois, but I see a life in prison sentence. Cook County, folks, Chicago. More violence in Chicago. So bringing public awareness to that situation. We cover true crime 24/7, 365, and praying for all the officers' families out there that lost their life in the line of duty. All the officers out there. Stay safe out there. JLR investigates. Thanks for watching this segment. We'll talk soon. Stay tuned.